Now CBS 47 Eyewitness News begins with breaking news.
Breaking news right now, firefighters on the scene of a warehouse fire in Fresno. This is happening right now at Clovis Avenue and Gates. You're looking live at the scene from our sky camera. There have been multiple explosions at this location. We're getting some reports, unconfirmed reports at this point, very preliminary, that there could be ammunition inside of that building. A very dangerous situation out there. This is just south of Fresno Yosemite International Airport on Clovis Avenue and really closer to Lomana and Clovis at this point, which is between McKinley and Olive. We're told a 3-alarm fire at this hour. CBS 47's Jack Heiberger is there on the scene this afternoon. Jack, can you hear us? And what's the latest?
Hey, Joey, I can hear you. Definitely been confirmed as a 3-alarm fire out here. We've got multiple fire trucks on scene. And I'm standing here right at McKinley and Clovis. Let me tell you what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a ladder truck, a good multiple stories in the air, spraying water down on this fire. It's a thick black smoke, still some flames shooting out of that warehouse. Multiple fire trucks on scene here, but so far I just checked with a firefighter on scene. No confirmed injuries at this point, which is very good news. But Joey, obviously a big fight on their hands. Still units arriving to try to get this blaze under control.
Jack, has there been any sort of evacuation in this area? We know we've seen several explosions taking place.
Right. Well, I can tell you that firefighters are definitely moving people out of the area. We've got a pretty large traffic jam here at Clovis and McKinley, so if you're driving this area, definitely avoid the area for the sake of firefighters trying to get this under control, if nothing else. But I've been hearing some stuff coming from this fire, obviously the crackling of this wood as it rips through that wood, as the fire rips through that wood, I should say, but also some loud bangs. I don't know if those are explosions or just stuff collapsing, but it has been very loud, and obviously this is a fire that's still a ways from being put out.
How many fire crews have you seen out there? We understand a lot of them are responding.
Yeah, well, Joey, let me tell you, I'm looking at 4 fire trucks right now, and I'm looking at a large ladder, way up in the air with 2 firefighters spraying water down onto this blaze. You guys can probably see that from the video you're looking at there on the screen. But a lot of crews on scene, 3 alarms, which is somewhat unusual as firefighters try to get this thing under control.
Yeah, this thing looks pretty huge. You can see it right now live from our sky camera pointing over South Fresno right now, near the airport, not too far from there in southeast Fresno. And Jack, again, a lot of crews out there. How close are you to this? How close are you able to get?
Well, if you're familiar with the area, there's drainage, obviously the canal that runs between McKinley, parallel to McKinley, between the warehouse and McKinley, and I'm just on the other side. And since we've been talking, I've watched flames kind of roll up the left side of the building here on the side opposite from the vantage point you're looking at and start to climb into what appears might be another structure or an extension of this structure. So firefighters, to say the least, have a big fight on their hands right now, and more crews showing up by the minute.
Jack, one of the things that we've been hearing as we're listening to some of the preliminary reports coming in, that there was possibly some ammunition being stored in this warehouse. Have you heard anything that sounded like that?
I have not heard that. Cannot confirm that at this point. Firefighters are going to get to us with some information here, but obviously their main priority right now is getting crews on scene to get this thing under control. So a lot of information unconfirmed at this point. We have heard large bangs. I can confirm this is a 3-alarm fire, but beyond that, a lot of unanswered questions. Absolutely,
yeah, a lot more questions here than answers. Again, our crew just arriving to the scene. As we zoom in right now, you can see a little bit better there. Some of the firefighters with their ladder trucks, they're pointing the guns, the cannons almost, of water at the base of that smoke right there. You can see over the warehouse coming out of it. There are 2 or 3 of those ladder trucks now aimed at the fire, and we can't see much else from this view. We have other crews at the scene trying to give you another angle at this point, trying to get that together. All of this happening
Hey, Joey, if I might?
Yeah.
If I might, the white smoke you're looking at right now, that's coming from where the water from this ladder truck is hitting the fire. Just on the other side of that, there are flames shooting 15, 20 feet in the air at least, and that has just started happening in about the last 15 to 30 seconds. So this fire is still moving despite firefighters' best efforts.
All right, Jack, so they're trying to contain it, but again, it's hopping, you're saying, to another warehouse, possibly, another building?
possibly at least the same one, but it's moving kind of in a westerly direction there and continues to grow.
Okay, we got it. As we zoom out, you can see a better idea here of where this thing is situated. Again, southeast Fresno. We're told on Clovis Avenue. It's really close to La Mana, which is between McKinley and Olive right now. A 3-alarm fire. This call came in just a few minutes before we went on the air here at 12 o'clock. We understand several firefighter crews are on the scene right now trying to combat this. And as Jack was just saying, it looks like it's continuing to spread at this point. They really don't have a good upper hand on this situation at this hour. We're talking about this on Twitter, on Facebook as well, and you can always find us on yourcentralvalley.com. As this warehouse fire continues to develop, we will stay on it for you and have the very latest as the news continues to break. That is the latest on it right now that we can give you information on. We also want to bring in Justin Sacher. He's monitoring weather conditions that, Justin, could possibly be having an impact on this. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's such a thick plume of smoke over in southeast Fresno. We're picking it up on live pinpoint Doppler radar. You can see that green splotchy area just to the north of the 180. That's exactly where the cross streets are that we are looking at here. I can come in a little closer and show you exactly what the terrain is around there. It's a flat area. There's the airport. You can see Fresno Yosemite International Airport right there, just north of the 180 where Clovis Avenue is. And radar is picking that smoke up in the air. It is a tall plume of smoke, and it's not spreading. We don't have the winds that we saw gust through here just days ago. In fact, yesterday we saw some very strong winds in the southern half of the state. They were gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour along the Grapevine. So there was a fire weather warning and watches, including red flag warnings. Those are not in effect today. Those are not in our area. You can see that plume of smoke is going right into the sky, and it is not being pushed from side to side very much, which is good news for firefighters, because when you have all that calm air basically above the fire, you don't have as much push and spread that really feeds that fire, because oxygen, of course, is a major feeder for fire. It is very dry outside right now. Hot weather, 85 degrees, 25% relative humidity, but those winds, very good to see that they are calm at this hour. That's going to help efforts immensely. Other temperatures through the area are quite warm. You can see we're going to easily break into the 90s in just a few hours here in your hour-by-hour forecast. But looking at relatively good conditions for firefighters and fighting that fire right now, because it is not windy outside.
That's a good thing. It's getting warm, though, Justin, and when they've got all that gear on, this is certainly not going to help the situation. One of the hottest days we've seen, right, this year.
Yeah, and very important to hydrate, whether you're a firefighter or not when you're outdoors.
All right, again, a warehouse fire, 3-alarm fire right now, Clovis and La Mana in southeast Fresno. We will have the latest on this breaking news as it continues to develop. Stay with Eyewitness News at noon for more. We'll be right back. You're watching Eyewitness News at noon. We are back with more breaking news coverage of this large warehouse fire at Clovis and La Mana in Fresno right now on the southeast side of town. A 3-alarm fire at this hour. As we look live at the scene through our Skycam video, you can see, again, this is something that we've got several different fire crews on. There are several ladder trucks there, 2 or 3 of them that we can see in this particular shot within the last couple of minutes. Now the smoke seems to be covering them up. But as they continue to combat this fire, our crew on the scene is telling us that it seems to be spreading a little bit further from where it was just a few minutes ago. This not too far from the Fresno Yosemite International Airport right now. As those firefighters combat this fire, we'll continue to bring you breaking developments as that news warrants. Also breaking news here this afternoon, the missing man out of Mariposa has been found. 78-year-old Carl Siemsdorf missing since Wednesday. He suffers from Alzheimer's. Mariposa Sheriff deputies say he walked out of his home about 2 days ago. Search and rescue workers say he's being hoisted off the mountain and transported now to a local hospital. So some good news there. Now to a developing story right now. Homicide detectives investigating after a man was found shot to death in an alley. It happened near the 2200 block of North Fresno Street, and police found a man lying there in the middle of an alley face down.
He's dead. I mean, we arrived, he's already dead. shot in the torso. I don't know how many times because he's laying on his stomach. Looks like African-American male, probably in his 30s, probably street type, kind of dirty.
All of this developing overnight. So far, no description on the car or the suspect. If you have any information, though, on this case, be sure to call Crime Stoppers at 498-STOP. One person dead after an overnight traffic accident in Fresno. It happened around 1 a.m. near Bullard and Cedar. Police say that man was traveling eastbound on Bullard when he lost control, hitting two light poles. He was trapped inside. Fire crews had to use special equipment to get him out. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. No word yet on whether drugs or alcohol may have been involved. And new at noon, a wanted fugitive from the valley caught in Cleveland, Ohio. 44-year-old murder suspect Craig Foster now in custody. Authorities found him hiding in an apartment in Cleveland. He's accused of shooting 28-year-old Janie Tatum in the head. He also shot her husband. That happened back in March. Janie died from her injuries. This guy is due back in court on Monday before being sent back to the city of Fresno. He's accused of shooting Janie again, also her husband as well. You can see the crime scene there happened back in March. We'll have more on this story coming up later tonight on Eyewitness News at 5. We want to check back in now on that developing situation. There is a warehouse fire that we've been covering here in southeast Fresno, and I believe Jack Heiberger is there on the phone for us. Jack, what's the latest?
Well, emergency crews on scene here battling a very large 3-alarm fire that's now spread to 2 warehouses. Take a look here behind me. You can see that blaze. We've got, count them, 1, 2, 3 ladder trucks on scene here spraying water down onto this blaze. Firefighters confirmed for me in the last 5 minutes or so this is spread to a second warehouse. It's not 1, but 2 warehouses currently burning right now. That white smoke you can see is somewhat of a good sign. It was very black until just, literally seconds ago. The flames still kind of rising up from the rooftops, but firefighters trying to get this under control. It's 3 alarms right now, which I'm told is about 15 units on scene. We're here at Clovis and McKinley, which is pretty backed up with traffic as firefighters and emergency personnel try to get this thing under control, Joey.
Jack, we were hearing, again, reports of explosions taking place just a few minutes ago. Has that stopped, or are you hearing more of that?
Well, we're hearing the crackling of the fire. As far as the explosions go, I asked a firefighter about that, and he told me that might just be the sounds of the fire. They can't confirm what that is we're hearing right now. They don't really know yet exactly whose warehouses these are, but they're trying to fight this fire. Obviously, with a fire this large, anything that's inside that might potentially explode is just another challenge and hazard for firefighters. But as you can see, they've got 3 ladder trucks up there trying to take this thing by force. At least 15 firefighting crews on scene, other emergency personnel, and there's a lot of other flammable buildings, I can tell you just from looking at this nearby this fire. So a lot of challenges as they try to get this thing under control, Joey.
Jack, it's obviously lunchtime. We've got people out from work right now driving around, possibly going through that area. Is this affecting traffic at all? Do you know?
Yeah, well, traffic's pretty backed up. This is right by the airport, as anybody who lives in Fresno knows. So if you're coming to the airport, coming anywhere near here, take an alternate route and please avoid the area. Not only are you going to be backed up for 15, 20, even 30 minutes, but you're also going to hurt firefighters who are trying to get to this blaze. So take an alternate route, and I know it's tempting to look, but try not to look and just keep going.
Very good point there, Jack. Thank you for that. Jack Heiberger live at the scene. We want to go now to Captain Brad Driscoll. He is from the Fresno Fire Department. Captain, can you hear us? And what can you tell us now? What's going on out there? What's the latest on this?
Well, we had fire units arrive at about 11:30 today, and they found a warehouse that was already well involved in fire. It spread to an adjacent warehouse. And so currently we have 2 warehouses that firefighters are right now putting water on and knocking the fire down. It is here at the corner of McKinley and Clovis.
Captain, what exactly is inside this warehouse? Do you have any idea of that yet? What is stored there?
The fire department, we currently have no idea what is stored inside. We're working on ascertaining that.
Okay. And about how many firefighters do you have on the scene there this afternoon?
Currently, we have about 70 firefighters here. We have about 15 fire units. We have units from Fresno, Clovis, and the Air Guard assisting with fire.
We heard earlier, just a few minutes ago, that it looked like maybe the fire was beginning to spread somewhat. Has it been contained yet?
The fire has not been controlled yet, but has been contained to the two warehouses. We have a lot of resources on scene now. And the biggest thing we want to get out is we can ask people to avoid the area of Clovis and McKinley. PD has some lanes shut down, and we just would ask people to avoid the area altogether to help with traffic.
Captain, do you know if there was anyone inside of the building? Have there been any injuries reported?
Right now, we have no reports of any injuries, but we don't have the complete information to make sure there was no one inside.
Okay, all right. Captain Brad Driscoll with the Fresno Fire Department, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. We appreciate it. Again, a three-alarm fire taking place right now, southeast Fresno. This is just south of Fresno Yosemite International Airport. We will have the latest on Twitter, on Facebook, and online at yourcentralvalley.com. We'll be right back. Back now with more breaking news on that warehouse fire, a three-alarm fire in southeast Fresno, Clovis and Lobana. You're looking live at the scene. A large cloud of smoke there coming out of the building. CBS 47's Jack Heiberger is live there with the very latest update. Jack?
Well, Joey, dozens of emergency crews on scene as they try to corral this three-alarm fire. Take a look here behind me. You can see the white smoke. That's a good sign. This was all black until just minutes ago, and I can tell you from our vantage point, as you can see, doesn't appear to be any flames shooting out of these rooftops. Firefighters have confirmed this is two warehouses. We don't know who owns them, and we don't know what's inside right now. This is a three-alarm fire, a very large emergency personnel response here. You can see, count them, 1, 2, 3 ladder trucks, multiple stories into the air, putting down water on this fire to try to fully suppress it. We're here at Clovis and McKinley. Traffic is backed up well past FYI on McKinley as folks try to get through here. You heard firefighters earlier in the show say if you can, avoid this area. They're trying to get crews to the scene and snuff this thing out, Joey.
Jack, we heard again earlier some reports of explosions. You could actually see large balls of fire coming out of this warehouse. Just a few minutes before we came on the air here this afternoon at 12 o'clock, we spoke to the fire captain, Brad Driscoll, a few minutes ago. He said no injuries reported. Jack, though, they were saying it's unclear if there was anyone inside the building. Have you heard anything as far as that goes?
Yeah, Joey, the no injuries part, good news. Firefighters have confirmed that for us. We don't know who was inside, if anybody was evacuated. It's kind of a frenetic scene right now as firefighters try to get this under control. I can tell you, though, if there was somebody inside or even nearby, that's priority number one for firefighters, is to clear everybody out of there. But again, when we first showed up, flames literally rolling out of these rooftops, shooting high into the air, and you could hear some very loud noises. Now, I asked a firefighter about those. He said that could just be the sound of the fire. This looks to be a wood structure, so they tend to crackle and pop as they burn. So we don't know what was inside. We don't know if those were actually explosions or just possibly sounds of the fire.
Absolutely. A lot of questions there, of course, very few answers. All of this developing within the last maybe hour here again. And the fire department still not able to tell us exactly what's stored inside the building. They've got their hands full right now, of course. Jack, is there any sense of what this business is exactly?
Yeah, you know, Joey, the thing about it is there's barbed wire kind of running this line. These are private warehouses. There could be any number of things inside. Whatever it is, it's definitely flammable, I can tell you that much. These warehouses were burning very fast and hot earlier, but firefighters, by the white smoke you can see here behind me, seem to possibly be getting this thing under control. If you kind of look to the left side, there's a wall there off of that high structure. It seems to have kind of collapsed just about the past 3 minutes or so, which would make sense because about 5-10 minutes ago that thing was fully engulfed in flames. And just on our side of this barbed wire fence, back from the actual fire, there's emergency personnel inside. And like I said earlier, if there was anybody in these buildings or in this complex, priority number one when firefighters showed up to this thing shortly before noon would be to get those folks out of the way and make sure they're safe.
Jack, we understand now from Fresno Yosemite International Airport that despite all of the smoke that we're looking at live right now, no flights are being impacted at the airport. And give us a sense of just how far away from the airport you are.
Yeah, Joey, well, this is a stone's throw from FYI, literally right across the street. If anybody knows where the Air National Guard is, it's just on the other side of McKinley. The good news is there is no wind, or at least minimal wind at this point, so this smoke is kind of going straight up into the air as opposed to either side, which could possibly interfere with flights. I just saw a Delta regional flight land a few minutes ago. Everything worked out as far as that goes, so doesn't appear to be interfering with air traffic. No injuries. The big thing right now, though, can't stress this enough, is let's try to get this traffic jam taken care of, because emergency personnel are trying still to get to this scene and get it under control. And when folks are kind of clogging this intersection at Clovis and McKinley, it definitely doesn't hurt it definitely hurts them trying to do their job.
Jack, you mentioned a little while ago in reference to evacuations. What's the latest on that?
Right. Well, firefighters right now are attacking this blaze. I haven't had a lot of time to catch up with any PIOs on scene. The fire chief is here and is supposed to brief us within minutes. But as far as evacuations go, just judging from basic Fresno firefighter protocol, is to get those folks out first to make sure everybody's safe before they tackle anything further. So as far as I can see right now, looking at the scene, it doesn't appear there's anybody still inside, and it doesn't appear there's any ongoing evacuations. It appears the emphasis right now is getting this fire totally under control.
Okay, Jack. We're looking live now at McKinley, where you can see traffic is really backed up quite a bit. This is not far from the warehouse, and maybe a few blocks away from where it's located. Traffic moving very slowly in one direction. The other direction, it looks like it is just at a standstill at this hour. It's 12:26 in the middle of lunchtime here as people try to head to and from their work, to lunch, of course. So this large 3-alarm warehouse fire having a huge impact on surrounding areas, especially traffic conditions right now. We're looking at firefighters spraying it from above now from their ladder truck. Stay with CBS 47 Eyewitness News for the latest on this developing situation. Clovis and Lamona, again, large warehouse fire taking place right now. That's it for us. We will see you back here for Eyewitness News at 5.